Hello, ministry partners and friends and family. Well, I'm answering the question, can a man be outstanding in his field? Well, yeah, look, I'm outstanding in a field. Oh, a little humor for you on the beginning this week. This is an amazing field. This is a field that belongs to one of our ranch families, and they let me shoot this video in it. And this is a form of barley wheat, kind of a hybrid of it. Grows and makes an amazing amount of tonnage of hay that they feed their cows during the winter. And a good winter and a good pivot, there's a pivot that circles this thing and waters this, is what makes such good hay. If you come in a little closer here, in these heads right here, you can squeeze them. And right now, if they weren't ready to harvest, they would be milky. You would squeeze that head and milk would shoot out of there. But right now it's getting really doughy, so it's soft. And what happens, if you can see way down in here, down at the stems down there, it starts to turn dry. And the sugar is chasing up into this head. And so that sugar gets up in here, and this makes just great feed, grain, and the cattle do really well on that throughout the winter. So they'll be haying this, I would imagine, probably within the week or no more than two. I would think within the week this hay would be getting put up, and they'll come in here, swather, they have a swather that cuts it and lays in a windrow. They'll dry there, then they'll rake it at 2 rows into one, and then the balers will come along and bale it in these big 1-ton bales, and they'll feed this out all winter. But it is quite a stand of hay. I don't know if you can tell, it's almost up to my shoulders in some of these spots out here. But grain is all through the Bible. This is part of the agricultural expressions within the scriptures. Remember that first, the early, of course, the Old Testament, that ancient world, and then those first century Christians, everybody was in agriculture, right? Whether it was under the law and sacrificing of lambs and grain offerings, or just providing food for yourself. So grain was such an important part of their life. They would have a handful of grain and could make bread out of that. And so it's just part of their culture. So the Bible uses it in so many ways. So I just want to encourage you. A sermon I love to preach, I just preached it this last couple of months, but I was in John chapter 12, verse 24, and there Jesus uses the example of wheat. He said, unless a grain of wheat fall into the earth and die, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. So Jesus uses this example of this grain because what made this huge head, and most likely several of these branches right here, was one kernel of grain. And it fell into this ground. They disked it in there, put it in there. It laid throughout the winter, and it died. And from that death, it decayed in this root shoots come out of there, and then maybe it froze and it stools out and it comes out more, and it actually produces a whole bundle of these things out of one seed. So Jesus says that if I'm like a grain of wheat, if I die and you put me into the ground, I'm going to raise again and I'm going to produce tremendous amounts of fruit. And that's you and I. Because Jesus Christ died, we are now the fruit of his death, and we are now his harvest. Isn't that incredible? Another verse that comes to mind is Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, 6 through 9. He's talking about the gospel and the involvement in what God's doing. And he says, look, I planted, Apollos watered, right? So somebody had to plant this, somebody has to do the watering. There's different aspects of getting this up. But God causes the growth. And that's true today, right? God sends the rain and the sun on this field, and this rancher, they know and love the Lord, and they trust in him. But God creates this growth. He created this world and its system to how to grow this incredible hay, this incredible grain here. But God causes it. So Apollos, he planted. He was out ahead of Paul. But Paul comes along and waters it, and God grabs the harvest of these people who heard the gospel, and it changed their life, and they believe. So goes on to say, so neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything but God who causes the growth. That's who it is. Now he who plants and he who waters are one, but each will receive his own reward according to his own labor, for we are God's fellow workers. God's fellow workers to produce a harvest. That's what missionaries are. I think that's what we all are that believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. We water and plant sometimes. We're not even around for the harvest sometimes, right? Certainly ranchers have planted fields and died before the harvest ever came in, but somebody else got it in. And so we are God's workers that do this. 1 Corinthians 9:10 says, the plowman plows in hope. I have to remind myself, it's challenging on the mission field. It's challenging in these very, very rural areas. It's challenging to share the gospel with people that maybe don't see themselves as sinners in need of Christ. It's challenging to be a part of that planting and watering process. But the plowman plows in hope that God is going to reward. Look at this reward. This is just an earthly view of what God's doing. Think with me, brothers and sisters. Today I was talking in our second church of looking into the window of heaven and seeing all those who God had declared righteous, who stand before him now until we go with him by death or by rapture. He has all of these people that he has declared righteous that are there. He has given us hope that he's going to resurrect the dead. He's going to take the living to be with him. What a glorious reminder. And so I just thought maybe I'd stand in this field with this super tall grain and encourage you to plant, to water, because it's God who's going to harvest. We are the faithful ones. We plow in hope. So pray for Gina and I that we will be good plowmen. We'll plow in hope, whether it's Gina teaching the women and the children, or me counseling and preaching and teaching, that and discipling and being involved in people's life, that we would be people who plow in hope, and that God will raise the harvest. So I pray that you'll be encouraged by this, and I help you get out there and start planting seeds and watering with me. Well, I hope this encouraged you. If you like this video, please give it a like there. That helps spread it for us. We sure appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you for supporting our ministry. Pray for others to join us in that, and we'll give God all the glory. Have a great day. Bye-bye.